In a room thick with hostility, a being of ethereal beauty moved like a shadow through light, her presence bending reality itself. Swords and spells hung in the air, poised to strike, yet the command never came. She cupped the enemy leader's chin, her gaze piercing through time, awakening memories of youth, of love, of a life unburdened by power. The leader, entranced, ordered his men to stand down. To the astonishment of all, he led her through the heart of his fortress, a place no outsider had ever seen. This was the power of an enchanter, not merely to manipulate, but to unravel the soul, to weave dreams into the fabric of the mind. Enchantment was revelation. It turned enemies into allies, or prey, or pawns. And in her hands, even the most feared became willing players in a game they no longer understood. For those who met her eyes were lost, not to her, but to the echoes of who they once were. In the annals of myth and magic, the enchanter finds their truest echo in the legend of Orpheus, the poet whose voice could bend the will of gods and mortals alike. His music was not mere sound, it was a force of nature, a thread woven into the tapestry of existence itself. As he journeyed through the wilds, his melodies spilled forth like a river of silver. Wolves lay down beside lambs, their ancient enmity forgotten. Trees swayed as if in a dance, and even the stones rolled gently in his wake. Men and women too were drawn to him, their hearts laid bare by the haunting strains of his lyre. They followed him not out of duty, but out of a longing they could not name. When Orpheus reached the river Styx, even Charon, the grim ferryman, could not resist his song. Without a word, he guided Orpheus across the black waters, the poet's music echoing in the hollow expanse, a beacon of light in the realm of shadows. In the hall of Hades and Persephone, Orpheus played with a fervor that stirred even the hearts of the deathless ones. The pale queen leaned forward, her eyes glistening with tears she had not shed in millennia. The lord of the underworld felt the weight of his throne grow lighter, as though the music had momentarily lifted the burden of eternity from his shoulders. But this, dear listener, is where we must pause, for the rest of the tale, of love, loss, and the price of looking back, is a story for another time. Let it suffice to say that Orpheus, with his lyre and his voice, did what no mortal had ever done. He charmed the uncharmable, moved the immovable, and brought a fleeting touch of life to the land of the dead. And though his journey did not end as he had hoped, the echoes of his song remain, a reminder that even in the darkest places, beauty can still be found. In the labyrinth of tales where time itself seems to unravel, there exists the story of Scheherazade, the storyteller whose words held the power to stave off death and mend a broken heart. Like the enchanter, she wielded not a sword or a spell, but the timeless art of narrative, weaving stories that transcended the boundaries of reality and imagination. Each night, as the shadow of the executioner loomed, Scheherazade would begin a new tale, her voice a delicate thread spinning through the darkness. Kings and thieves, jinn and mortals, lovers and warriors, all came alive in her words, their fates intertwining in a dance of intrigue and wonder. The king, who had sworn to take vengeance on all women, found himself ensnared not by chains, but by the allure of her stories. Night after night, he postponed her execution, eager to hear the next chapter, the next twist, the next revelation. Her tales were not mere diversions. They were mirrors reflecting the depths of human experience. Through them, the king began to see the world anew, not as a place of betrayal and pain, but as a tapestry of love, loss, and redemption. Scheherazade's stories became a bridge between his hardened heart and the world he had shut out, each narrative a step closer to his transformation. But this, dear listener, is where we must pause, for the rest of the tale, of how Scheherazade's wisdom and courage not only saved her life but also restored a kingdom, is a story for another time. Let it suffice to say that Scheherazade, with her words and her wit, did what no one else could. She charmed the uncharmable, softened the unyielding, and brought light to a world shrouded in darkness. And though her journey began in fear, it ended in triumph, a testament to the enduring power of stories to change even the most stubborn of hearts. In the gilded halls of Versailles, Madame de Pompadour rose from modest beginnings to become the confidante and muse of King Louis XV. Her beauty and intellect were undeniable, yet they alone could not explain her extraordinary hold over the king. In all of France, there were surely women as charming and clever, yet none wielded her influence. Was it her ability to create a world of art and comfort around him, or something more elusive, an enchantment woven through her presence, her words, her very being? She became more than a mistress. She was a patron of the arts, a political force, and a shaping hand in the cultural landscape of France. Her salons buzzed with philosophers and artists, her touch transforming the court into a beacon of enlightenment. Yet the question lingered: what was the source of her power? Intellect, charm, or perhaps something beyond reason, something akin to magic? This, dear listener, is where we pause, for her full story, her triumphs, struggles, and legacy, is a tale for another time. Let it suffice to say that Madame de Pompadour, like the great enchanters of myth, possessed a power that defied explanation, blurring the line between the mundane and the magical. And in her, the ordinary became extraordinary, leaving behind a mystery as enduring as the halls of Versailles themselves. What Madame de Pompadour, Orpheus, and Scheherazade share is a unique gift, a talent that makes them artists of life itself. They are not only masters of their respective crafts, be it music, storytelling, or the subtle diplomacy of the court, but also masters of the human soul. They possess the ability to influence those around them, not through force, but through a kind of magical persuasion that opens hearts and transforms minds. Their power lies in their capacity to create worlds into which others can step and find themselves reflected. Even in our modern era, where the reach of media spans the globe, there are still those who wield such influence through their art. They are the modern enchanters, shaping culture and moving masses through film, music, art, and philosophy. Consider cinematic magicians like Stanley Kubrick or Hayao Miyazaki, whose films do more than entertain. They alter the way we see the world. Their works are portals to other realities, compelling us to question our own notions of time, space, and identity. In music, figures like David Bowie or Björk create not just songs, but entire universes that listeners can lose themselves in. Their art transcends boundaries, connecting generations and touching the soul in ways that feel almost mystical. Their music is a form of enchantment, weaving spells that linger long after the final note fades. In the visual arts, painters like Frida Kahlo or Banksy produce works that do more than captivate the eye. They ignite societal debates and force viewers to see the world anew. Their art acts as a mirror, reflecting not just what is, but what could be. And then there are the philosophers and thinkers, like Simone de Beauvoir or Slavoj Zizek, whose ideas ripple far beyond academic circles, shaping the thoughts and actions of entire societies. Their words are incantations, challenging us to question the structures of our world and imagine new possibilities. These modern enchanters, whether in film, music, art, or philosophy, remind us that the power of enchantment is alive even in our technological age. They show us that art is not merely entertainment, but a force capable of changing the world. And just as Orpheus, Scheherazade, and Madame de Pompadour left their mark on their time, so too do these artists shape our era, and perhaps the future as well. But as with all things human and timeless, a warning must also be spoken. For the power of enchantment, though it may inspire and uplift, carries within it a shadow, a potential for darkness that cannot be ignored. What serves the good and the grand can just as easily be twisted to serve the sinister and the base. The same voice that sings of love and beauty can whisper lies, and the hands that craft wonders can also weave chains. Enchantment, in its purest form, is a force of transformation. It can open hearts, awaken minds, and bridge the chasms between souls. Yet, like fire, it is neither inherently good nor evil. It is a tool, shaped by the intentions of those who wield it. And where there is light, there is also shadow. The ability to enchant is also the ability to manipulate, to deceive, to dominate. It is a power that can blur the line between truth and illusion, between devotion and obsession, between freedom and control. The danger lies not in the enchantment itself, but in the hearts of those who wield it. For every act of creation, there is the potential for destruction. For every spell that heals, there is one that harms. The enchanters of the world, whether they are artists, leaders, or mystics, carry a weighty responsibility, one that is often overlooked in the dazzle of their craft. And when that power is misused, the consequences ripple far beyond the individual, leaving scars on the world and the souls within it. Let us marvel at the enchanters, but let us also be wary. For the line between inspiration and manipulation is perilously thin, and the cost of crossing it is often paid not by the enchanter, but by those who fall under their spell. The stories of old remind us that power, no matter how dazzling, carries a price, and that price is often paid in the currency of suffering. In a world where influence is currency, the greatest danger lies not in the absence of enchantment, but in its misuse. And so we must tread carefully, for the magic that binds can also destroy. In the shadowed corridors of Russian history, Grigori Rasputin emerged as a figure of dark enchantment, a man whose influence was as mesmerizing as it was destructive. Known as the Mad Monk, he rose from obscurity with an uncanny charisma, his piercing eyes and prophetic words casting a spell over the Romanov court. To Tsarina Alexandra, he was a holy healer, a savior for her ailing son, Alexei. To Tsar Nicholas II, he was a confounding enigma, both revered and mistrusted. Yet, Rasputin's power was not benign. Behind his facade of piety lay a man of scandal and excess, whose influence corroded the rationality of the court. Advisors were dismissed, policies swayed, and the empire's fragile stability further weakened under his whispered counsel. His enemies grew in number, fueled by fear and hatred, but even his gruesome assassination, marked by poison, bullets, and drowning, only deepened his myth. Rasputin's story is a warning. The power to enchant, when wielded without conscience, becomes a force of ruin. His legacy is one of chaos, a reminder that even the most captivating magic carries a price, one paid not by the enchanter, but by those ensnared in their spell. In the wrong hands, enchantment is not a gift, but a curse. In the ancient annals of power and seduction, there exists a tale of enchantment as perilous as it is unforgettable. The story of Salome, whose name became synonymous with the intoxicating allure of beauty and the devastating consequences of its misuse. Born into the court of Herod Antipas, she moved like a shadow draped in light, her every gesture a whisper of danger. Her dance, they say, was not merely a performance but a spell, a weaving of motion and desire that could unravel the will of even the most hardened hearts. Salome's enchantment reached its zenith on a fateful night, when her stepfather, Herod, drunk on wine and lust, promised her anything she desired. Under the guidance of her mother, Herodias, who harbored a venomous grudge, Salome asked for the head of John the Baptist, a prophet whose words had condemned Herodias's sins. Herod, bound by his oath and ensnared by Salome's charm, could not refuse. The prophet's head was delivered on a platter, a grotesque trophy born of manipulation and desire. Salome's story is one of enchantment turned to darkness. Her beauty and grace, which might have been a force for good, became instruments of destruction. She wielded her power not to inspire or uplift, but to fulfill a vendetta, her dance a weapon as deadly as any blade. And though her name has echoed through the ages as a symbol of seduction, it also serves as a warning. The power to enchant, when untethered from morality, can lead to unspeakable acts. Let us remember Salome not only for her mesmerizing dance, but for the caution she embodies. For enchantment, in the wrong hands, becomes a force of ruin, a reminder that beauty and charm, no matter how dazzling, carry a weighty responsibility. And when that power is misused, the consequences are written not in light, but in blood. In the realms of role-playing games, video games, films, and music, the archetype of the enchanter or enchantress endures as a timeless force, weaving their magic across genres and generations. These figures, whether wielding a lyre, a spellbook, or a hypnotic gaze, captivate not only the characters within their stories but also the audiences who witness their power. They are the masters of influence, the weavers of dreams, and the subtle architects of fate. In role-playing games like Dungeons & Dragons, the enchanter is a class defined by their ability to manipulate minds and reshape reality through charm and illusion. They are not warriors who rely on brute strength, nor wizards who summon fire and lightning. Instead, they are the quiet puppeteers, turning enemies into allies, diffusing conflict with a word, or bending the will of kings with a glance. Their power lies in their subtlety, their ability to alter the course of events without ever drawing a blade. Video games, too, have embraced the allure of the enchanter. Characters like Morrigan from Dragon Age or Yennefer from the Witcher series embody this archetype, blending beauty, intellect, and a touch of danger. They are not mere companions. They are forces of nature, their influence shaping the narrative and the player's journey. Their magic is not just in their spells, but in their ability to leave an indelible mark on the story and those who experience it. In film, the Enchantress appears in countless forms, from the seductive and mysterious to the wise and otherworldly. Think of Galadriel in The Lord of the Rings, whose presence is both soothing and awe-inspiring, or the White Witch in the Chronicles of Narnia, whose icy charm conceals a heart of darkness. These characters remind us that enchantment is not always benevolent. It can be a weapon, a shield, or a mirror reflecting the deepest desires and fears of those who encounter it. Music, too, has its enchanters, artists whose voices and melodies cast spells over their listeners. Figures like David Bowie, with his chameleon-like personas, or Björk, whose ethereal soundscapes transport audiences to other worlds, embody the essence of the enchanter. Their art is not just heard, it is felt, a force that lingers long after the final note fades. What makes the enchanter timeless is their ability to transcend the boundaries of their medium. They are not confined to a single story or world. They exist wherever there is a need for magic, for influence, for the bending of reality. They remind us that power is not always loud or obvious. It can be whispered, subtle, and all the more potent for it. And whether they use their gifts for good or ill, their impact is undeniable, their legacy enduring in the hearts and minds of those they touch. In games, films, and music, the enchanter endures as a symbol of the eternal dance between control and chaos, beauty and danger, creation and destruction. They are a testament to the enduring allure of magic, and a reminder that the most powerful spells are often the ones we cast on each other. Who's your favorite enchanter or enchantress? From the shadowy courts of ancient myths to the glowing screens of modern games and films, these mesmerizing figures have always held a special kind of magic. Whether it's the subtle charm of an RPG spellcaster, the haunting melodies of a musical icon, or the unforgettable presence of a silver screen sorcerer, enchanters remind us that power isn't always about strength. It's about influence, mystery, and the ability to shape worlds. So, tell us, who's the enchanter that's cast a spell on you? Is it a character from your favorite game, a scene stealer from a movie, or maybe even a real-life artist whose work feels like pure magic? Drop your picks in the comments and let's weave some enchantment together.